The alien marketplace was silent. Broken stalls stood in rows. Dust blew across the empty ground. Hunger was in the air like smoke. She walked slowly, her thin body shaking. In her arms, she carried a small child. The little girl's eyes were weak, her lips dry. She had not eaten for many days. The mother looked around, searching for food. But there was nothing she could take. Every stall was guarded. Every piece of bread had a price she could not pay. She whispered to her child, "Hold on, my star. Hold on." Her voice was tired but still soft. The child coughed, a dry cough that sounded like breaking stone. The mother's heart broke, but she kept walking. Other aliens in the market watched her. Some turned away, some whispered behind her back. "She is weak, she is poor, her child will not survive," but no one came to help. Once she had a family. Once she had a house with walls and a roof. But war had taken it all. Her people had left her, calling her useless. Now she had only one reason to live. The little girl in her arms. As the sun went down, the market became darker. Shadows stretched long and cold. The mother sat by a broken wall, hugging her child close. Her stomach growled with pain, but she ignored it. She thought about the stories she had heard. Stories about humans. Humans were not like her kind. They were taller, stronger, and full of fire. Some said they were cruel. Others said they were kind. She had never seen one before, but in the marketplace, whispers had reached her ears. They have food. The humans bring supplies. Sometimes they share, sometimes they do not. Her heart beat faster. She knew it was dangerous. Her people feared humans. They told her to stay away. But what choice did she have? Her child's eyes half closed. Her breathing slow. The mother felt panic rising. She pressed her forehead against the girl's. "I will find food. I will find someone who will listen." The night came. Stars filled the black sky. The mother walked out of the market, following the smell of fire and cooked food. She walked past broken houses and empty streets until she saw it. A small fire glowing near the edge of the ruins. Beside the fire sat a figure, broad shoulders, strange armor, and hands that moved with care as he cooked something in a pot. Her breath caught. It was a human. She hid behind a wall and watched, her legs shaking. Fear and hope battled inside her heart. The smell of food reached her nose, sharp and rich, her stomach twisted. The child stirred weakly. She knew this was her only chance. The human sat quietly, his face half lit by the fire. He looked tired but not cruel. She thought about what she could give. She had no money, no treasure, only herself. Her mind whispered, "Offer everything. He is human. Maybe he will take. Maybe he will give." Her hands shook as she stepped out from the shadows. Her child in her arms, her knees weak. The sound of her footsteps made the human turn. His eyes narrowed, his hand moved near his weapon. She fell to her knees quickly, holding the child forward. Her voice breaking, "Please, my daughter is hungry, she will die. Please feed her." The human stared, silence filled the night. The fire crackled, the child coughed. The mother's tears fell on the ground. She bowed her head lower, her whole body trembling. She whispered again, "Take everything, take me, take what you want. Just feed my child." The human's eyes darkened. Not with anger, but with shock. No alien had ever begged him like this before. No one had ever fallen to their knees. For a long moment, the air was still. Only the stars above seemed to watch. The mother held her breath, her heart ready to break. Would the human give her food, or would he take her life instead? The human did not move at first, his hand stayed near his weapon. His eyes sharp and full of caution. The alien mother knelt in front of him, holding out her weak child, her voice trembling but steady enough to show her desperate will. The fire between them cracked and sent sparks into the cold night air. The man slowly lowered his weapon, his eyes scanning the mother and child. He saw the thin arms, the empty eyes, the trembling lips of the girl. Hunger was clear. Suffering was heavy. He had seen this before in battlefields, in refugee camps, in places where no one cared. But this was different because now the plea was pointed directly at him. "Why come to me?" he asked. His voice low but heavy. "You fear humans? Your people hate us." The mother raised her face slightly, tears shining. "I have no one else. They turned away from me. They said my daughter is a burden. They left us, please. I will give myself. I will give my life. Just save her." The man's jaw tightened, his stomach clenched with a memory. Long ago he had been a boy, hungry and cold, begging for food when war tore his home apart. No one helped. Only one old soldier had thrown him a piece of bread. That moment had burned into him like a scar. He shook his head, pushing away the memory. His eyes locked on the mother. "Stand up," he said, his voice stronger now. "I do not want your body. I do not want your service. I only want to know one thing. Why would you give everything for her?" The mother clutched her child closer. Her voice cracked but carried truth. "Because she is my world. Without her, I am nothing. Without her, I am already dead." The words cut into him like a blade. His chest tightened. He reached into his bag and pulled out a pack of rations. Slowly, he placed it on the ground between them. The mother's eyes widened, her breath caught. She stared as if she had seen a miracle. "Feed her," he said, pointing to the food, his tone firm. "But eat with her. Do not give it all to her. If you fall, she will fall too." Her hands shook as she tore open the pack. The smell of cooked grains filled the air. The child stirred and opened her mouth weakly. The mother pressed the food to her lips. The little girl swallowed, color returning to her cheeks. Tears ran down the mother's face as she fed her daughter and then herself. Every bite felt like life itself. The human watched in silence, his face unreadable, but inside, something shifted. He had been alone for so long, seen as a monster, a weapon, a threat. But here, in this small act, he was something else. He was a savior. When the child's breathing eased and she fell asleep against her mother's chest, the woman bowed her head. "You could have taken everything from me, but you gave instead. I will not forget this." "Human," he did not answer right away. He threw another piece of wood into the fire. Sparks rose into the night sky. His eyes scanned the dark ruins around them. Shadows moved, whispers carried on the wind. He knew they were not alone. The mother noticed too, fear returned to her eyes. "They are watching us," she whispered, "my people. They will say I betrayed them." The man nodded slowly, his voice calm but firm. "Then stay close if they try to harm you. They will find I am not so easy to face." The mother held her child tighter, her body trembling, but in her chest a new feeling sparked. Not just fear, but hope. That night she did not sleep. She sat by the fire, watching the human as he kept guard, his weapon ready, his eyes sharp. She wondered what kind of man he was, why he would help when he could have taken, what price he might one day demand. But one thing was already clear. The moment she stepped from the shadows and begged, her life had changed forever. The morning came with a gray sky, smoke from distant ruins still rising into the air. The human sat near the fading fire, cleaning his weapon, his eyes alert as always. The alien mother woke slowly, her child still sleeping in her arms, the little girl's face no longer as pale, her breathing stronger after the food. The mother's stomach twisted with fear and gratitude. She had been ready to give away everything. Her pride, her dignity, her own body if it meant saving her daughter. But the human had asked for nothing. This confused her because in her world, kindness always had a hidden cost. She lowered her head, her voice soft. "I still owe you, human. I have nothing left. But if you wish, I will serve you, I will cook, I will clean. I will follow, even if it means shame. I will pay the debt." The man stopped moving. His eyes lifted from the weapon, sharp and steady. "I told you, I do not want your body, I do not want your chains. I have carried chains of my own for too long." His voice was firm but calm. The mother bit her lip, her heart beating fast. "Then what do you want from me?" she asked. "No one gives without taking. No one spares without price." The man looked at her child, his face hard. "I want you to fight to keep her alive. That is the only thing. Do not kneel again. Do not throw yourself away. If you do that, you dishonor the food I gave." Her eyes widened. She felt heat on her cheeks. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Not since before the war. Not since before her people abandoned her. His words cut deep but also lifted something inside her. The little girl stirred awake, her eyes opened slowly. She looked at the human with sleepy confusion. "Mama, who is he?" Her voice was weak but curious. The mother hugged her close, whispering, "He is the one who gave you food." "My star." The child blinked at the human, then smiled faintly. The human felt a strange pull in his chest. He looked away quickly, throwing dust on the fire. Moments later, distant voices echoed, harsh and angry. The mother froze. Her ears twitched as she recognized them. Her own people. Patrol guards moving through the ruins. The man noticed her fear. His hand tightened on his weapon. "They are looking for you," he said quietly. "Do they know you came to me?" She nodded, shame and terror mixing. "Yes, they will call me traitor. They will punish me, maybe kill me because I begged from you." The man stood, his armor catching the weak light of the sun, his presence suddenly larger, stronger. Then they will find more than they expected. The mother shook her head quickly. No, if you fight them, they will bring more. It will end in blood. They will take my daughter. They will take me. Her voice cracked. Please let me speak. Maybe I can convince them. But even as she said it, her heart told her the truth. Her people had already abandoned her. They would not listen. They would only hate her more. The human's eyes narrowed. If they come, I will not let them touch you. Her breath caught. She did not know why, but his words gave her strength. As the voices grew closer, the mother turned to the human, her body shaking. If I must offer myself again, I will, if it saves my child, if it saves us both. I will give everything. The human stepped closer, his shadow falling over her. You already offered yourself. And I refuse. Do not make that mistake again. The only thing you must offer is courage, and the will to live. If you break, your child will break. If you fight, she will learn to fight too. Her lips trembled. Her tears fell, but inside something stronger stirred. A seed of defiance. The voices came nearer, shadows moving in the broken streets. The human raised his weapon, ready for the first strike. The mother clutched her daughter and whispered, "Whatever happens, I will not kneel again." The moment hung heavy, the silence before the storm. And then the first guard appeared at the edge of the ruins, his eyes wide as he saw the alien mother kneeling beside a human fire. The first guard shouted when he saw her, his voice echoing in the ruins. "Traitor! She kneels with a human." His words were sharp like blades. More guards rushed from the shadows, their armor clinking, their eyes burning with anger. The mother froze. Her child pressed against her chest, her heart racing. She wanted to explain, to beg, but no voice came from her throat. The guards pointed their weapons, shouting louder, "Step away from him, leave the human, or you will die with him." The human stood tall, his weapon steady, his eyes cold. He had been here before, surrounded, judged, hated, but this time was different. This time he had someone behind him who had no one else. The mother trembled, but when she looked at him she saw calm, as if he had already decided what he must do. He spoke quietly, only to her. "Hold your daughter tight, do not run unless I fall. And if I fall, you must keep walking. Do you understand?" Her lips parted, tears filling her eyes. Why protect us?" His gaze did not leave the enemies, "Because once no one protected me, and I swore I would not let it happen again." The guards stepped closer. Their leader sneered, "Human, this is not your fight. Leave the woman, leave the child, walk away and live." The human's voice cut through the cold air like iron. "I will not leave them if you want them. You must come through me." The guards laughed, but their laughter shook with unease. Humans had a reputation, fierce in battle, brutal in defense, yet they had never seen one stand so still, so ready, so sure. The mother's knees shook. Her child whimpered. She whispered to her daughter, "Stay quiet, my star, stay still." But inside she felt something stir, not only fear but fire. The first guard charged. The clash was sudden. The human's weapon flared. The sound of steel and fire filled the ruins. One guard fell. The others hesitated. The human's eyes burned with determination. The leader shouted in rage, "She is ours, she belongs to us. She gave herself to a human, she is nothing." The words stabbed the mother. Her tears fell. But she lifted her head. For the first time she shouted back, her voice sharp, "I belong to no one, not you. Not any of you." The guards paused, shocked by her defiance. The human glanced back for only a heartbeat, and in his eyes she saw respect. The fight grew harder, more guards came. The human moved like a storm, each strike precise, each step firm. But they were many and he was only one. Blood ran down his arm where a blade had cut. His breathing grew heavier. The mother's heart pounded. She could not sit still, her child in one arm. She grabbed a broken piece of stone with her free hand, her body weak but her will alive. When a guard rushed close, she struck with all her strength. The stone cracked against his head. He fell stunned. Her chest heaved. She could not believe what she had done. The human shouted, "Good, do not stop, fight for her." "Fight for yourself," the guard snarled, rage rising. The leader raised his weapon to strike the mother, but the human blocked him. Their weapons clashed, sparks flying, their faces inches apart. "You call her nothing," the human growled. "But she is more than you will ever be." His strike sent the leader stumbling back. The surviving guards hesitated, fear creeping into their eyes. They looked at their fallen brothers, at the woman who had once been weak but now stood unbroken, at the human who refused to bend. Finally, the leader spat on the ground, his voice bitter. "This is not over, human. We will return, and when we do, you will regret your choice." They dragged their wounded and vanished into the shadows, leaving the ruins silent again. The mother collapsed to her knees, clutching her child. Her chest burning, her hands shaking. She looked at the human, his arm bleeding, his chest rising heavy. Yet he still stood tall, his weapon lowered, his eyes steady. "You risked everything," she whispered. "For us." He breathed hard, his voice quiet but firm. "I told you. I will not let what happened to me happen again." The fire in her chest grew, stronger than before, no longer just survival, but hope, fragile but real. The ruins were quiet again, but the silence felt heavy. The human cleaned the blood from his arm with torn cloth, his face calm though pain pressed into every line. The mother sat nearby, her child asleep against her chest, her own hand still shaking from the fight. She looked at him, her voice soft. "They will come back, they will bring more. They will not forgive this," the man nodded, his eyes scanning the shadows. "I know they do not forgive, and they do not forget." Her heart sank, she felt guilt burning in her chest. "It is my fault if I had not begged from you. If I had not stayed, they would not hunt you." He turned toward her, his gaze firm. "No, it is not your fault. They hunt because they fear. They fear change. They fear someone who refuses to kneel." His words stirred something in her. But fear still clung to her soul, she whispered. "What if they hurt her? What if they take her from me?" The human's voice hardened. "Then they will answer to me." She studied him, confused. Why would a human, a stranger, risk so much? Was it honor? Was it pity? Or was it something else? As night fell, the fire glowed again. They sat in silence until the mother finally spoke. "If we leave, if we run, will they follow?" He thought for a moment. "Yes, but not forever. They hunt while you are weak. If you learn to stand, if you learn to fight, they will hesitate." She shook her head. "I am not a fighter, I am only a mother." He leaned forward, his eyes sharp. "That is why you must fight." "Because no one fights harder than a mother protecting her child." Her chest tightened. The truth in his words struck deep. She held her daughter closer. The following days were filled with quiet movement. They left the open ruins and found shelter in the broken shell of an old building. The human taught her small things: how to gather safe food, how to light a fire, how to move without being seen. At first her hands fumbled. Her strength failed, but each day she learned. Her daughter watched with wide eyes, sometimes laughing when her mother's attempts went wrong. The sound of the child's laugh gave both of them strength. Still, whispers followed them. Patrols searched. Once they saw torches moving in the distance. The mother's heart froze, but the human remained steady, his weapon always near, his eyes always watchful. One night, as they sat by the fire, the mother spoke again. "You could leave me. You could walk away and be safe. Why do you stay?" The human was silent for a long time. Then he said, "Because when I look at her, I see myself, and when I look at you, I see what I wish someone had done for me." Her eyes filled with tears. She lowered her head. "I do not deserve this kindness." He shook his head.
"No one deserves hunger. No one deserves to be cast aside, not you."
"Not her." Her lips trembled. She felt warmth spread in her chest. A warmth that was not only gratitude. It was something deeper, dangerous, but alive. The next day, danger returned as they searched for water near the broken river. 3 guards appeared, blocking their path, their faces twisted with hate. The leader of the small group spat. "You shame us, woman. You walk with a human, you share his food. You take his protection, you are less than nothing now." The mother froze. Her daughter clung to her side. The guard's eyes gleamed with cruelty. The human stepped forward, weapon raised, but the guard smirked. "You cannot protect her forever, human. One day we will take her. And then you will see how little your kindness matters." The mother's heart thundered. She felt the weight of their words. She saw the fear in her daughter's eyes. Something inside her broke, or perhaps it awakened. She stepped forward before the human could answer, her voice trembling but loud. "You will not touch her, not while I live." "Not ever again," the guards laughed. But their laughter shook. They saw something in her eyes, something that had not been there before. The human glanced at her, and for the first time, he smiled, a small, proud smile. The fight was coming. The test of their fragile trust was near, and this time, she would not stand only behind him. She would stand beside him. The broken river whispered in the dark, its waters shallow but dangerous. The 3 guards moved closer, their weapons raised. The human stood ready, but this time the mother did not hide behind him. She kept her child close to her hip with one arm. and in the other she gripped a sharp stone she had found earlier. Her heart was beating fast, but her voice stayed strong. The guard sneered. "Look at her, the weak one dares to stand. The one who begged for scraps now bares her teeth." Their laughter was cruel, but beneath it there was unease. The human's eyes never left them. His voice calm but heavy. "Turn back. You have seen what happens when you try to take them." The leader smirked. "You cannot fight us all, human. One day you will bleed and fall, and when you do, we will drag her through the dirt for choosing you." The words cut deep, but instead of bowing her head, the mother lifted it higher. "I chose life, I chose hope. I chose the one who gave when you only took, if that is shame. Then I carry it with pride," her voice echoed. Sharp and fearless, the guards flinched, their confidence cracked. The fight came quick, the first guard lunged, but the human met him with steel. Sparks flew, the clash of metal roared in the air. The second tried to circle toward the mother, but she struck with the stone, hitting his arm. Her body weak, but her strike fierce, the guard snarled in pain. The child cried out fear in her small voice, but when she saw her mother fighting, her eyes widened with something new, not just fear but awe. The battle was fierce. The human fought like fire. Every strike heavy, every move precise, but he was bleeding again, his side cut, his breath short. The mother saw it, panic rising, but instead of freezing, she stepped forward. Her hands trembling yet steady enough to defend, she swung the stone again, striking the face of the guard who tried to grab her child. The man fell with a curse, his blood mixing with the dust. The leader roared and charged, his blade aimed at the human's chest. For a heartbeat, the human staggered, the wound in his side slowing him. The leader's strike came fast, but then the mother leapt forward, throwing herself against the leader with all her strength. The blade missed its mark, cutting only the human's armor. The human regained his balance, his weapon flashing, and with one heavy strike he sent the leader to the ground, defeated. The two surviving guards dragged the leader away, fear now stronger than hate, their voices shaking. "This is not over, you will both pay. You cannot defy us forever." Silence returned, broken only by the river's whisper. The mother's chest heaved, her arms ached. The stone slipped from her hand, but she was still standing. Her child clung to her tightly, whispering, "Mama, you are strong." The human wiped the blood from his face. His eyes meeting hers, for a long moment neither spoke. Then he said, "You fought, you did not bow. You are stronger than you think." Her tears fell. But this time they were not only tears of fear, they were tears of release, of pride, of something rising from the ashes inside her. "I fought because you believed I could." The human shook his head. "No, you fought because you had to, because you carry more strength than you know. I only reminded you." That night they returned to their shelter, the fire burning low. The child slept peacefully for the first time in many nights. The mother sat across from the human, watching him bind his wounds. Her voice soft. "You bleed because of us. Why do you stay? Why not leave? Why not save yourself?" The human looked at the fire, his face calm but shadowed. "Because I am tired of being alone. Because saving myself means nothing if I let others fall. Because once someone gave me bread when I was starving, and it saved more than my body, it saved my soul." The mother's heart ached. Her hands shook. She wanted to speak, but words would not come. Instead, she whispered only, "Then you saved ours too." The silence between them was no longer heavy with fear, but with something deeper, fragile but alive. For the first time since the war began, she felt like tomorrow might hold more than hunger, more than despair. Tomorrow might hold hope. The days after the river fight were restless. The human and the mother knew the guards would return. Their enemy's pride would not allow silence. Yet in those short days, something grew between them. Not just survival, not just fear, but trust. The child laughed more now, her cheeks fuller with food, her eyes brighter. She called the human protector in her soft voice, and every time she did, his chest tightened with something he could not name. But danger did not forget them. One night the ruins trembled with heavy steps. Torches burned in the distance. A larger group marched, more guards, more weapons, more hate. The enemy had returned for vengeance. The mother's heart raced. She held her child close, her voice shaking. "There are too many. You cannot fight them all." The human checked his weapon, his face steady. "I have fought worse, but I will not let them take you." She shook her head, fear and fire mixing inside her. "Then I will fight too. I will not hide again. If they come for us, they will face both of us." The human looked at her, his eyes softer for a moment, then he nodded. "Then we fight together." The battle came with fire and shouting. The guards stormed the ruins, their leader shouting, "End this now, kill the human. Drag the woman and her child back. Let all see what happens when you betray us." But when they rushed forward, they found not a weak mother kneeling, but a woman standing tall with fire in her eyes, stone in her hand, and her child hidden behind her, the human at her side like a wall of iron. The clash was brutal. Blades against steel, cries against fire. The human fought with every ounce of strength, but even he staggered under the storm. Blood ran down his side, his breath short, yet he stood. Every strike meant to protect the two behind him. The mother did not freeze. She struck, she shouted, she fought. Her stone cracked against helmets. Her voice rose above the noise. "You will not take her. You will not take us." The child hid, small hands pressed over her ears, but her eyes peeked out wide with awe. She saw her mother not as weak, but as fierce, not as broken, but as strong. The battle stretched long, the human strength fading, the enemy closing in, until at last he fell to one knee, blood dripping from his wound. The guards cheered, believing him finished. The mother's scream cut through the night. She rushed forward, shielding him with her body. Her arms spread wide. "If you want him, you must kill me first." The guards hesitated, their blades raised, but something in her voice, in her eyes, froze them. This was not weakness. This was fire. This was defiance. The human forced himself up, his voice low but filled with iron. "And if you want her, you must kill me too." Together they stood, broken but unbowed. The sight shook the guards, for in their world, mothers were meant to kneel. The weak were meant to fall, yet here was a mother and a human standing as one. Refusing to yield, whispers spread through the enemy line. Fear mixed with doubt, no one moved. The leader snarled, but his men wavered, their courage broken not by strength alone, but by the sight of hope that would not die. At last the leader spat in anger. "This is not over," he shouted, and with a sharp gesture he pulled his men back, their torches fading into the ruins, their hate left behind like smoke. Silence fell, heavy and endless. The mother collapsed beside the human, tears falling, her arms around her child, her voice trembling. "We are alive, we are still here." The human leaned against the wall, his chest heaving, blood on his side, but his eyes steady. "Yes, you are, because you fought, because you stood, because you chose not to kneel." Her tears fell faster, but her smile broke through. "You gave us food, but you gave us more than that. You gave us strength, you gave us hope." The child hugged them both, her small voice soft. "We are family now." The human closed his eyes. For the first time in years, he felt the weight on his shoulders lift, not because he fought alone, but because he no longer was alone. The night passed, and when dawn came, the three of them stood at the edge of the ruins, the horizon burning with light, the war behind them, the unknown ahead. The human spoke softly. "This is not the end. It is the beginning." And together, mother, child, and human stepped forward into a future that had once seemed impossible, a future built not on fear but on courage, trust, and the bond born from hunger and hope.